Ian Boldsworth on Fubar Radio.
You can genuinely all fuck off. Hello, welcome to the show, and you are welcome to it. Coming up on the show today, 4:30 p.m, friend of the show, Rees Finlay, is in the studio.
It's the 7th of October today.
Today is the 7th of October. Coming up on the show today on the 7th of October, friend of the show, Rees Finlay, is in the studio. He's going to be talking about his graphic novel, Reaffirmation, coming to terms with an autism diagnosis. Fuck me. My reading's not great.
Through October, and you're in it.
I'm actually in it.
I
am actually in it. I've seen that bit. Slimmed me down and everything. He genuinely has. I've seen you cry before, though. You've cried before.
I have cried.
So you've cried on my shoulder before.
To you. I have cried in front of you before. Yeah, that is true.
So it's not,
it's not new.
You're in a safe space here now. I just think it might be good radio if you do break down in tears.
Well, here's my first tear. If Rees Finlay doesn't come in with a portrait of me drawn, I've told him he knows the rules. That'll be my first tear of the day. So,
have you got a little needy beef that's going on, which is that Rees Finlay, this new graphic novel he's done, and by the way, I've skipped through it. Yeah. I didn't even know Rees was coming in today. He sent it over to me. I've skipped through it. He said, "Oh, you're on this page. Will you have a look and make sure that's all right?" So obviously I went to that, and it was actually before my last show here, and I checked that. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's absolutely fine. Of course, yeah, no problems at all." And I said, I'm going to read it. I'm not done yet, but it's on my computer there, ready to read. But in the bit in his book, which is him coming into the studio and all that, and going out to London and sort of the stresses of going to London and that sort of thing, you're not in it.
What? Well, that's welling me up straight away.
So that's why you're now getting all needy and going, he's got to draw a picture of you.
I didn't know about this. I told him about, no pressure, but if you want to come in the studio, I need a picture. And he said he was going to find one on the dark web.
Do you know what? I'm actually not sure he even mentions you. I'm honestly not sure that he does.
Okay, so we've got two guests today on the show, Otis Mensa and Ed Hughes. I don't know. Who can tell?
I love that story. Right, we're joined now by Rees Finlays in the studio. Hello,
Hello,
Rees.
thank you for having me back.
It's a pleasure. I didn't even know you were coming in. Literally, I found out when I walked in this morning.
From listening to the show that Ian doesn't generally know before he comes in who the guests are.
I had no idea, mate. No idea. So it's a lovely surprise.
Oh, thank you.
And we're talking about Reaffirmation, coming to terms with an autism diagnosis, which is your latest graphic novel. So last time you were in, it was a High Priestess, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a lot of chat about the blue flame, and then we moved on to autism, and I think that's when the seeds started to get sowed of.
Yeah. So what's your... I did your quote for the book and that sort of thing, and I've not read the whole thing yet, but I've read chunks of it. I was just slagging you off, mate.
Okay, fine. Great.
But I've not read the whole thing yet in its entirety, but I've read chunks of it, and I'm always... rocked a little bit by your honesty within your work. I'm also occasionally concerned about it. So there's an occasional thing where I go, "Oh, is that healthy for you, for Rees?" Or I'm sure it's helpful for other people, but is that healthy for you? But we can come on to that. That's my caveat within it. But I find it quite striking how brutally, and I found the same with the High Priestess, how brutally honest you are about your own personal life, because they're all kind of autobiographical, really, aren't they?
Yeah, what's the saying, that you wrote what you know.
Yeah.
So even if it's fiction, it's going to have this emotional core of things that have happened to me.
And you're a character within your own books as well.
Except for the High Priestess, that is completely fictional, but I think a lot of the emotional themes come from a real place. But yeah, this is completely autobiographical, and not just comics as well. It becomes an actual novella as well, merged in. Yeah. That's a huge new thing for me as well. I've not really written properly before. And then that gets even deeper, because I think with comics you can handle the emotional core and maybe some of the more light-hearted moments, but to get deep into, especially with something like autism, which is such a minefield to talk about.
I find when I read comics, when there's a bit of... Because Watchmen does it a little bit as well, as I recall.
Yeah.
Well, not skip over them, but I get to them and go, "Oh, for fuck's sake." Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, there's a load... So basically, it's where the comic is broken up by prose.
Okay.
So there's writing, and then you're back to the graphic.
I'm not sure if you like that.
Well, you have to be in a certain mood, is what I'm going on to say.
Yeah.
So if you are completely submerged in a comic, and if you're thoroughly enjoying the journey in that, and you've got the time... It's a brilliant thing. It's a really enriching part of it to go between mediums. But if you're like just skipping through something, it's like, oh fuck this.
Yeah, I can definitely empathize that. Alan, I think it was Voice of the Fire when he wrote that.
Okay, yeah.
The first chapter is complete nonsense, really wordy stuff. And that's to keep the cunts out, is what he said.
Is that what it is? Yeah, is that what that is? Yeah.
Not that I'm saying I'm trying to keep the cunts out.
No, I hear you, though. Yeah.
It was just a case of, with autism, there's so much complications, and the way you'll get attacked on Twitter just for a certain choice of wording. And it's
Does that happen?
Yeah, it's... Well, like with any movement, so neurodiversity is the new big word. Yeah. And it's about kind of autism rights, and not just autism, any sort of neurological condition that's beyond the norm.
I guess one of the problems is that unless you take the tack of going, I am going to assume that everyone has Asperger's, or I assume everyone is autistic in some way, then it breaks down regular human interaction. So, what has been neurotypical human interaction thus far, it's now the rule book has been completely rewritten. So I think there needs to be a degree of understanding on both sides. The problem that you have is that one side of it can't necessarily understand, that sort of, or not understand, relate. They can't relate to an emotional response to something. There's a very similar thing going on with the Greta girl as well.
Yes,
yeah. This is what's really brought autism into the topic of conversation. I mean, the stuff that's being said about her in the media. That it's a mental illness, which is a really horrific thing to say. Yeah. But was one I read that she's manipulative because she's autistic. Yeah. 16-year-old child, and she's autistic.
But autism shares a lot of traits with with somebody who's being
as does being neurotypical.
Yeah,
this is the exact problem we've got.
Absolutely, that
it's become this us versus them.
Yeah.
And as great as neurodiversity is, when you start putting this divide in, there's a divide.
Yeah.
And I think the reality is, I think someone with autism or any sort of disability or any sort of condition have more in common with the rest of the human race than.
Yeah, but malicious manipulation would be something that would be called out in someone who's neurotypical. Yeah. Right? So if people don't understand yet that someone who's autistic can appear to be maliciously manipulative as just part of what they are, that's not what they're doing. They're not having a second. They're not thinking, I'll do that. But it can appear to be that.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you like, the rest of the world is trying to catch up, and some of them are just refusing to catch up. Yeah. And I think that the situation with the girl Greta, I can't remember her second name. Sorry.
Thunberg.
I think it's like pronounced Thunberg, but I think you need an accent to do it properly.
I absolutely understand why people would find her objectionable. Yeah. I get it
because it's trying to work out what her motivations truly are. Because it's not money.
I think that comes into it. I think there's lots of things come into it where I can go, I understand why someone will go, she gets on my fucking tits, that that girl, but at the same time, what I can't understand is the need to voice that. That's the bit that I struggle with. I can't understand
and on social media
and to her.
Yeah, true. Yeah, very true.
But look how well she's dealt with it when the president said something about her and she changed her Twitter bio to what he said.
Did she?
Trump said on the thing on her profile, there was a quote that Trump said about her, which she embraced it, and I like that. It's funny. It's good that she did that.
But it's the counter argument that I keep hearing is she's a 16-year-old autistic kid. It's like, I couldn't give a fuck what she is. That's not acceptable to be like that to anyone.
Right, it's that kind of faux concern, like, she shouldn't be doing that. Where her parents have done this.
No, I mean the criticism is what I mean.
This is the criticism being levelled. It's that she's somehow being manipulated
by her parents, because her mum. I read, her mum was in Eurovision or something like that. So the implication is that she's pushing her as a showbiz child. But what she's doing is not the way that you'd go as most showbiz kids go. Tell you what, do this.
But what I was meaning is that the argument back to the criticism of her is like, you're a grown man, which is normally the situation.
Is,
You're a grown man having a go at a 16-year-old autistic girl, and it's like, no, that's a diversion.
Right.
It should be, you are a human being addressing another human being like that.
With and she's got legitimate issues. Like Clarkson.
It's not worse.
Clarkson had a go at the weekend.
He called her a spoiled brat.
Right. This is the guy that punched up somebody who didn't have a hot dinner, right? That was brought to him. When Jeremy Clarkson got in a fight somewhere, as the producer said.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They didn't have any hot food at where he was. Yeah. Now, come on now. You haven't got any room to talk when...
This is what we're dealing with, I guess, in terms of when you're broaching that. And
I hate the term stigma, but it's definitely it's been evident with Greta that it attracts a stigma and if I go, I've done a book, you get a little pat on the head. Oh, bless you.
Yeah,
and then it takes someone to actually read the previews and stuff to go, oh, actually, this is competent.
It's an actual book. Yeah. And
I've had people directly say that, like, I thought this was just going to be absolute nonsense.
But where they're essentially treating it like, oh, look, you're coloured in all the lines a lot. Look at that, you've done really, really well.
Put it on the fridge or a magnet.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, isn't it? But I think, I don't know, I worry a little bit about that everyone's on the same page with this stuff, and they're clearly not at the moment. So I have and I don't level this at you, by the way, but I have a real difficulty when people are, for want of a better word, activists for a certain cause, that it occasionally becomes objectionable too easily. So it's occasionally, where people are like, I'm sick of you fucking banging on about your Asperger's. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it becomes the brand, and I hate it myself, and it's exhausting. But I know you have it yourself. If you talk about rugby on Twitter, you lose followers, and this is me. If I want to talk about video games or...
Well, you said that Ian talks too much about rugby on Twitter.
No,
so there's this expectation to be on brand, otherwise you lose.
Yeah, you do that.
If I talk about something that I like in my life on my Twitter,
which is fine,
however much I want to,
which is what you can
do. People are like, oh, this isn't.
Has anyone said that to you on Twitter?
Well, this isn't Naughty Keith.
Oh, really?
No, you know what I mean.
It's done that. But it's that rugby again.
Well, no, but luckily I'm not in a situation where.
Doing that.
But I couldn't give two fucks.
Yeah, it's this kind of expectation that they want people in. In the social media world, I follow in. I want jokes, not I want a three-dimensional character. I just want this one note.
What I tweet.
They're not getting jokes.
Sometimes like that tweet's ready to go. I want jokes. That's all I tweet you.
Yeah, not getting them.
No,
but
then imagine me making jokes in a. In a community where jokes aren't always interpreted as jokes.
Yeah.
No,
if anyone wants proper content, mate, they can pay for it and go on my Patreon, mate. They're not getting it free.
Do loads of jokes there, don't you?
Oh, mate, it's hilarious.
It's full of content. Parapod tickets came up and sold out. Amazing,
all that sort of stuff, mate.
So highly recommended.
Yeah.
Okay, we've done a plug.
Right, let's promote your thing now.
I've got gifts as well if we want to do some.
What have you got?
We'll do some gifts.
Yeah, let's do gifts.
So last time I was in, I brought you some sketch cards.
Oh, yeah, you did. They were lovely.
So Ian had a nice little trading card size one, and to draw it into scale and to contribute to the culture of bullying going on here.
Yeah.
I made yours to scale, which was twice the size.
You made it to scale.
It's very nice. Mine was on my old one's on my dartboard next door.
Yeah, so the picture of Nat was over.
Dartboard where I pinned my favourite things.
Loads of things up
okay.
Yes.
Nat's trading card. I got one trading card and Nat got two because it was to scale.
Right. I need to sage my dartboard. Can I point out that I do love Nick Knowles, and I put a laminated picture of him on my dartboard.
Right.
Things started going wrong, various things. So I've had to get rid of it.
Curse of Knowles.
Yeah, I think he did curse.
Okay, to get back on track. Have you forgiven me for that mild transgression?
I love it. Yeah, no, I
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So I don't want to reopen old wounds, rather make new wounds.
Yeah, please.
Today's the day for any wounds.
Fresh slice. Do a fresh slice, Rees.
Yeah.
Firstly, we'll get the cool one out of the way. Ian, I thought you'd get a kick out of these. Some Batman 89 original trading cards.
Heavens to Betsy.
Complete with 20-year-old chewing gum if you want to try some of that.
What do I do? That is a quandary for me.
Don't know. Open one.
No, I desperately want to open them. Desperately.
But then you want to leave them sealed for collectors.
Yeah, that's a real good. They're amazing, man. They're fantastic. It's the Tim Burton Batman when they did the trading cards, and it's got the gum in. And even as I'm feeling it, I'm like, oh, I'd love some of that gum now.
It's rock hard. It's amazing. Yeah. I had some from Gremlins too, so it's a little bit fresher.
Is it the pink gum that you used to get in the?
I'm not going to open them for now because I think I've got some of them trading cards anyway. It'd be awful to open them and then find the ones I've already got, and I've just.
Reese, have you brought something in for me? What a surprise for me.
Yeah, because when we were booking me in, that's email was, I look forward to you bringing some.
I did say that. I've already confessed to that on this show. I've already mentioned it. But
obviously, artists love it when you ask for free artwork.
Yeah.
I thought you were just going to do it on a napkin. What is
Natalie King?
Oh my god, that is me. To scale, Ian might say.
Can we put this to auction? Because I'll put money down for that now.
Holding a car, which I assume I'm about to eat. My lunch.
Amazing.
General chaos.
And there's some people there trying to run away, I think, because they see what's happening.
It's kind of sexy, that as well. Look how sexy you are in that. Look at you see a bit of thigh and stuff. Look at that.
Yeah, that's really good, Reese. Thank you.
It's got a lot going on for
Now, where on the dark web did you find this picture of me?
On the dark web.
This is where you sent. I need to know what website it's on. That's amazing, Reese. Thank you very much.
Let's take a picture of that and get it tweeted now.
Okay.
As in when the show's on.
Okay, sure.
How wonderful.
You hold it too. That's nice. I love it, actually.
Hold it, mate. I have to hold it with one hand.
That's definitely going on my wall. Thank you so much. This is even more than I thought you were going to bring in, which I thought was going to be on a napkin from in the green room.
Being a recurring guest, I want to earn friend of the show status.
Yeah. No, you got it already. You already got it.
I already wrote it on the screen. I wrote it on the screen.
With that in mind, Nat, can you book Roger Language on again? See if he does me another drawing.
Yeah, I will do. Okay, friend of the show, Roger.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Let's get back to reaffirmation. Okay. So, how do you